Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. In this session, we are going to see helper functions. TagUI provide a lot of helper functions which can make our work easier. So the first function we're going to see in helper function is URL. URL gets the URL from the current web page. If you are in a website and you want to know where you are from a URL standpoint, or you want to validate after launching what the URL is, you could get the URL and then perform the validation. The syntax is just URL, and you can just put it in your condition and check for any kind of a contain specific text or exactly equals to text using any of those validation. Let's see an example demo for this. We'll come back to the example for URL demo. So launch your Notepad++. I already opened URL TagUI example. So URL is very simple thing. So whenever you open a browser, in the browser, whatever you type, let's say investopedia.com, this part is called URL. This is what TagUI gets. For example, if you click on any link here, let's say education, and in the education you have so many things. You have URL changes here, the financial term dictionary. So for example, I click on simulator, your URL changes as simulator. If you want to get the current URL where you are you in simulator page, this method helps you retrieve the URL and we can able to use it for validation. We'll see this example utilizing it. Again, I repeat, URL is, when you say URL method, it retrieves this part and basically sends you back as a return value. This is URL. So let's see an example. Let's close this. Let's launch this. Let's see an example. So / TagUI Helper functions and URL example. So we're going to launch the website. In this case, Investopedia. I copy paste error. Say https://investopedia.com and say timeout. And let's say 5 seconds. I'm going to just echo URL equal to, I would say, URL. So if you want to print any variable or a value, you just specify written codes, and within these codes, and you specify the value, it stores it. So what it does is it's going to display me whatever the URL or wherever the URL I am in, and it will give you those value. And let's just save it and now just run this so that you can see what's happening or what is the value it's going to display. So to execute it, let's open our command prompt, go to search and say cmd, and your command prompt will be open. Click on the command prompt, navigate to your folder where you are. So navigate to the folder where your URL TagUI script is saved, and I'll minimize this, say TagUI url.tag and hit enter. So let's close this browser so that we don't have anything on the screen. I'm closing all the folders. Let's say I'm closing this folder and we just have this. So run TagUI url.tag and hit enter. So it's going to launch our web page. So Chrome browser is launched. It's going to now navigate to investopedia.com, which is what we said. Let's expand this. We did launch Investopedia, and our value for the URL, if you see here, so Investopedia is launched, and we just say, hey, go URL. This URL value is being printed here. So that's what URL method does. So now we're going to see is we're going to move Investopedia. We're trying to navigate to a couple of other links, and let's say Investopedia. We'll click on news, and we'll get the value of the URL once we navigate to the news. For example, I say news, I click news. So let's check the DOM for this. So inspect, and we see news as a news value, and we can just say news. So let's go here in our core script and say, hey, so once you're here, we are in a, say, home page. I'll say click news and time out 5 seconds. and let's again get value of URL. So in this case, what we expect is you should see investopedia.com. Now you should see here the value of the, when I click on news, you should see news 427706 something. Let's close this, save the script, and we'll see this example. So save and minimize this. Let's go back to our code, minimize this and bring it here. I did make it a little too small. Let's make it a little bit more big. Let's say TagUI URL dot tag and enter. So it's launched, navigating to the Investopedia, and it is clicking news and it retrieves the news. So if you see here, so the first URL value which you see here in URL is the first value which you see here for this URL is this. The second value for the news which you see, which is URL value over here, is we clicked on news, and that's how it shows the value. So now we have these value. We can also do some validation. So we got the news, and let's say if we want to do validation, I say, hey, if URL contains, and let's see what was the value. So value was news echo you success, you are in news page, else echo fail to navigate to news page after clicking news link. So we can take some decisions around it. Let's save this and see if it works. So minimize, and let's bring this guy back to our place. Let's clear this screen. Some error. Let's see what error we have. Okay. We missed a bracket. So like this. So syntax wise, we need to give it braces. URL with the braces, then only it will give you the value. Say save, minimize this, and let's run again. So let's launched. Okay, let's see. Oh, I have a typo here, which is contains, CONTAINS, contains. Save, and let's run it again. So it's launched successfully, cleared, navigated. So it's getting Investopedia, navigated to news, and then it finishes. So let's expand this, open, and let's move this to see what's happening. So we launched URL, which is over here. The URL gets launched, it's displayed here, and we clicked on news. So news is here, and after clicking news, we clicked on, we basically got the URL after clicking the news. So we got the URL, which is this URL, which contains news. And then we are now checking if the URL contains news, that it contains news. And then we say success message in the page. So we have it here, which is this. So this concludes example for URLs. Thank you for watching. See you another one.